Hey guys, I hope y'all are doing well today. So I finally got my hands on this foundation that like broke the internet. This is the KVD Vegan Beauty Good Apple Foundation Balm. So today I'm going to be doing a wear test on this on my oily skin, and I'm going to let y'all know what I think about it. So if you're here for the first time, thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is SonyaNicole, and I post new videos here every week, including some content for makeup lovers who are 40 and over. So I really hope you'll consider subscribing while you're here today. I would really appreciate the support, and I would love to have you join the channel. Okay, y'all, let's jump right into it. Okay, so here's what the foundation looks like. I'm not going to go into too much detail about this because I'm sure by now you've heard all about it. So I'm going to be using the shade Tan 68, which looks like this. So I originally got Tan 72. Number one, that was the only shade that I could find. I knew it was going to be too dark for me, but I just kept my fingers crossed and I hoped that it would be something that I could still work with. 72 is way too dark. 68 is going to be a better match, but I already know that this foundation just doesn't have a shade for me. This is going to be slightly the wrong undertone, but I think that I can make this work. So I wasn't going to buy this foundation at all. When I first heard about it, I wasn't interested in it because of the type of foundation it is. I don't think it's going to work that well on oily skin, but I have seen a whole lot of videos on this, people with both dry, normal, and oily skin. There's a lot of mixed reviews, but a lot of people seem to really love this foundation. So I felt like I wanted to try it just because I just needed to know like what all the hype was about. So let's get into the application. I think as of now, as of when I'm filming this, which is on April 4th, there's a bunch of shades that are now back in stock everywhere. So I'm looking at Ulta, and they do have, it looks like a whole lot of the lighter shades are still out of stock on Ulta, but they have from like medium 54 down to Tan 78 is back in stock. A lot of the deeper shades never sold out for some reason. And then let me check Sephora really quickly. Sephora doesn't really have a whole lot in stock right now. They just have 4 of the deepest shades in stock. And then it looks like at KVD Vegan Beauty's website, it's kind of like a mixed bag. So they do have some shades that are back in stock, but it looks like a lot of the lighter shades are still out of stock. So they are coming back in stock with it. But I was able to pick mine up at KVD Vegan Beauty's website directly. So let's get right into the application. So I know that this is supposed to be a very full coverage foundation, and I have seen a lot of people applying this with a brush and a few people applying it with a sponge. I think I'm going to use a sponge for this because when you apply with a brush, this isn't like a buildable foundation. It looks like just one layer of it is just going to give you full coverage right off the bat. So I think I want to go in with a sponge so that if the coverage can be sheared out at all, I think a sponge is the best way to do that. So I'm kind of like taking a shot in the dark at this, but I think I want to apply this with my finger just to get the product on my face. So I'm gonna just dot it on like so. And I'm gonna take my EcoTools Bio Blender sponge, and I'm gonna start blending it out like so. I actually think I need to put more of it on because that didn't give me a whole lot of coverage actually. I'm just kind of scared to go in with a brush with this because number one, I don't really do full coverage foundation. I like more of a medium coverage, but also I don't want to miss and put too much coverage on. So I would rather like build up if I can, and then I think that'll be better than trying to like just pack on too much. So this is actually a pretty good shade for me. I do have a cool undertone in case you're new here, but that actually doesn't look bad at all. I'm gonna go in on the other side and then I'm gonna do my forehead last. I try to put like the least amount of product on my forehead because I just don't need a whole lot of coverage up there. So I would say right off the bat, if you've already tried this and you felt like it was like not blending into your skin, it was kind of like just sitting on the top of your skin and not really like blending in, I will say that I do like this this method of going in with my finger and then blending it out with a sponge. I feel like it's giving me full coverage, but it's not like over the top full coverage. I'm actually going to put just a little bit more on my forehead. Something else I'm noticing as I'm blending this out, it's drying down to a matte finish like pretty fast. And that is the type of finish it's supposed to have. It's supposed to have a matte finish, but it's still easy to blend out. So it's not like it's drying down so fast that it's like really stuck in place and you have to move really quickly, but it does dry down matte like pretty fast, it looks like. Okay, so here is what it looks like all blended out, and I actually like it. I think it looks really nice. I will say I'm not wowed by it though. Like a lot of people were just like so like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it when they put it on. I'm not getting that. I'm not getting that impression, but I do think it's really nice. And for this to be like so full coverage, I think that it still looks really nice and skin-like on me. So far so good. Really pretty, but nothing to write home about, you know, so far. Okay, so you guys know that I always like to show you how my staple concealers and setting powders work with the new foundation. So I'm going to go in with the Estee Lauder concealer. This is one of my staple concealers, but I'm using this one today because my other one is Too Faced Born This Way. And I think the Estee Lauder concealer, it just looks a little bit better with more like full coverage products because this one does have a fuller coverage compared to my Too Faced concealer. So I'm going to blend with my sponge. I always like to take my residual foundation on my sponge or my brush to blend out on the chin and the forehead area. And then I'm going to go in with a brush to blend around my mouth and under my eyes. Okay, I'm going to take my sponge again. I'm just doing like one final blend and I'm concentrating where my foundation and concealer are meeting each other. And then I'm going to set my under eyes with the L'Oreal True Match powder in the shade C5. And then I'm going to set the foundation with the Sephora Microsmooth. This is a baked powder foundation. And I don't want to put a whole lot of powder on top of this, but I feel like because I have oily skin and this is like a cream foundation, I do need to set it. So I'm going to go in with this brush. This is like a really thick, like dense brush. And I'm just going to make sure that I like really press the powder onto the skin. Okay, so here is what my complexion is looking like all set. And so far, so good. I do think this looks really nice. And I'm surprised that the shade match. I thought that this was going to look a little too golden on me, but I actually really like this. I think that this is a really good shade for me. So I'm going to do the rest of my makeup off camera. I will come back and give y'all my first impression of this, and then we will start the wear test. Okay, so here's my makeup for today. And just in case you're interested, I will have everything that I'm wearing listed in my description box. So my first impression of this, I do think it's really nice. I think it has a really nice matte finish. To me, it doesn't look super makeup-y. It just looks nice and matte, and I think it looks really pretty. Now, I will say I'm not really seeing right now why everybody was so like over the top about this. Like, I don't think that it looks any better than any other matte foundation that I really like. It's nice, but to me it's not like giving me like game-changing vibes right now, but maybe the wear test will change my mind about that. So I'm just gonna wear this during the day, and then I'll come back when I feel like it's time to refresh. We'll see what it looks like. We'll see how long it lasted before it started to oil up, and then we will refresh it to see how that works out, and then I'll give y'all my final thoughts. So it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so I will see y'all back here a little bit later on. Okay, I'm back and it's going on 10 o'clock, so we're almost at exactly an 8-hour wear test, and this is what my face is looking like. And I have to say I'm pretty stunned at this wear test today. So I'm sure y'all can see like right up in here, My forehead is shiny. I have a little bit of shine like on my nose and on the sides of my nose, but my forehead just started to get like this like maybe within like the past half hour, 45 minutes or so. And I really thought that I was going to be ending this wear test at like maybe 4 hours, because that's really all I was expecting from this foundation. So I'm like really stunned that this foundation wore on me like this. Like I wasn't expecting that. And on top of that, like it's like in the mid 60s today, so it's not really hot outside, but I was actually grilling today. So I spent a good amount of time like close to a grill, you know, cooking on the grill. And even with that, I think this makeup held up like really, really well. So let me give you guys some side views. And I think like all on my cheeks and everything, I think the makeup looks just fine. And it just looks like slightly oily in my T-zone. Like, I'm really stunned. I really am just like, I'm shocked. But we're gonna quickly refresh right up in here, and we're gonna see how it refreshes. I just like to always check and see if like when you have to blot off excess oil, does any of the makeup like pull off or anything. So I'm gonna start right on my forehead. And then I'm gonna do just a little on my nose. And then I'm not even gonna bother with repowdering. I just feel like I don't need to do that. I think that this looks just fine. Now, like I said, I wasn't expecting this to wear like this because I have oily skin and it's like a cream foundation. So based on my experience today, I would recommend this foundation, but keep in mind, like regardless of what skin type you have, even if you have the same skin type as me, you may not have the same experience that I had, because there are some mixed reviews, as there are with all products. But you know, people regardless of skin type, some people like this foundation, some people did not like it. I will say with I think when people were like initially applying the foundation and they were so like shocked at how full coverage it was, I do feel like that part is kind of overhyped, because if it is a full coverage foundation, if that's what it's claiming to do, I don't think that you should be so shocked that a full coverage foundation is giving you full coverage. But what I'm so shocked about is how it wore on my face with me having oily skin. Like, I do feel like this might be one of the best wear tests that I've ever done. I think maybe the only other foundation that wore so well on me might have been, I can't remember if it was the e.l.f. Camo CC cream, or I can't remember. It was one foundation that I did, and I don't think it was all that long ago, when after the wear test was over, I just felt like I didn't have to touch up my face because I felt like it just didn't need to be touched up. I can't remember what foundation that was, but that instance and today are the only two instances where I feel like I was just really shocked at the results of a wear test. So, I mean, I like everything about this foundation. I keep looking in the mirror trying to think of something like bad to say, and I don't have anything bad to say. Like, I'm really surprised. Like, I think I see why people were so, you know, over the top about this foundation, because I really thought I was going to be like, oh, it's overhyped, it's not that big of a deal. But this performed really well on me having oily skin. I'll just have to remember to wear this again when the weather really starts to break and it really starts to feel like summertime around here, and then I'll see if it holds up in like really hot and humid weather. But I mean, as of right now, I just really can't find anything negative to say about this. I'm just really surprised at the outcome of this wear test today. So again, remember, I have oily skin, but you may have a different outcome even if we have the same, you know, skin types. But based on my experience today, I would highly recommend this. And I will say I can see why people are so hyped up about this. So those are my thoughts on this new KVD foundation. I hope that y'all enjoyed this video today. If you did, please let me know by giving me a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe before you head out, and I'll see y'all back here for my next one. Until then, take care. Have a good one, y'all. Bye.